This past year, audiences filled movie theaters to catch Tom Cruise in action as Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 has a Part 2. We have to wait for it. Cruise performed his own breathtaking stunts in the movie released by our parent company, Paramount Global. Well, our Tony Dokoupil spoke with the director and got a first-hand look at how to do some of that amazing stuff.
If you know anything about Mission Impossible, you know this. The stunts in every new movie without fail seem to be bigger and better than the stunts in the last.
Reggie, open the door!
And when you see Tom Cruise dangling from a plane, the director makes darn sure you know it's really him.
The challenge normally when you're shooting an action movie is you're always trying to hide the fact that it's a stuntman and not the actor. In Mission Impossible, it's the opposite. You're trying to show that it is Tom and not a stuntman.
Christopher McQuarrie has now directed 3 Mission Impossible films, part of a 15-year-plus collaboration and friendship with Cruise.
I like to describe it as one long conversation about movies that's occasionally interrupted by production.
It began ahead of their 2008 thriller Valkyrie, when both were at a professional crossroads, and McQuarrie in particular was thinking of leaving Hollywood.
The only reason I was thinking about leaving the film business is I didn't really have a creative partner. I didn't have a creative net. And that was our very first meeting, was talking about the kind of movies we wanted to make, why we make movies. And Tom was somebody who was very straightforward about, I make mass entertainment.
In the relationship, when it comes to the story and the stunts, who pushes whom?
We're pushing each other. I think we're pushing each other. We're challenging one another. When you work with Tom, you find yourself doing things you didn't think you were capable of doing.
Where other actors would happily allow a trained stunt double to step in, Cruise, who's also a producer of the series, does the stunts himself. And that's even after breaking an ankle on a leap between buildings during the filming of MI6. To get a sense of just how demanding these stunts can be,
Hey, how are you?
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you, Tony.
I met with Stephen Kepfer, who's made a living performing them on TV shows and films, including the John Wick series. He can really do it all.
Judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo. So we're a lot of throwing people around.
He now throws people around at his stunt training facility in New York, where he told us a good stunt always starts with a coherent story.
So it's not to do cool for the sake of cool.
You're like, hey, I can do a backflip here. You know, I think, I can do it.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're an office worker who's never trained anything in your life, but all of a sudden you're doing a backflip.
Yeah, they're like,
right?
we don't need the backflip.
Right, so part of our job is to really collaborate with the writer and the director to make sure that the story that they want to be told is being told.
And that's part of the secret in Mission Impossible. There is a design behind the danger. But let's also be clear, the danger here is very real. And when it comes to Tom Cruise, so is the talent behind it.
I have massive respect. I know how hard it is to do the things that he does. You know, it's just overall better if the actor can do it.
But how hard is it really? I mean, could I do it?
Hey, today, we actually choreographed a fight for you.
Yeah?
So we're gonna warm you up,
Okay.
get you nice and loose,
Okay.
and teach you to do a fight scene.
It took about 2 hours to prepare for my little scene, learning the fake falls, the punches,
Nice.
and the knife tricks. Which does make you understand how hard this really is, and that it took thousands of hours of planning and training to pull off a movie like the latest Mission Impossible.
Look at all the marketing that went into Tom Cruise's motorcycle stunt and parachuting, and that's a big part of what sells the film now, is that it is Tom Cruise doing it, and we can do bigger, better, and on and on and on and on.
Because that motorcycle stunt scene alone has drawn so much attention ahead of the release of Dead Reckoning Part 1, we asked McQuarrie to explain it to us.
This is Tom. He's on a ramp, and we've replaced the ramp with with CG landscape. That's the only digital element in the shot.
But at this point, that's real air, real Tom Cruise, real motorcycle.
That's real Tom Cruise, real motorcycle, real clouds. Now this is taken from, as a separate take, where it's Tom and a cameraman, and Tom doing actual dialogue in free fall.
Where's your heart and mind at that point?
It's very much an out-of-body experience. It's life and death stakes, and it's very, very real. You're what we call in present time.
As for my more minor stunt, the acting perhaps could have used some work.
Oh, for crying out loud, I'm too old for this.
But it felt like I actually picked up on the choreography pretty quickly.
Oh!
So look, Paramount, if you're ever looking for some cross-promotion, I am available for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, and for whatever Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie can come up with next.